everybody. So we were supposed to have session, but we hadn't heard from the DM in a couple days. And then this crazy storm appeared like directly around his house. And we just decided maybe we're going to leave that alone. He might be going through something right quick. So I guess session's canceled.
Sorry, I just got really distracted.
Oh, did you?
I was looking at Tom Bloom's itch.io page for a second, and I just scroll down and I see the eponymous Goblins with a Fat Ass,
baby.
And of course, I already knew about Goblins with a Fat Ass, but I noticed the footnote said, "Please don't let this become my most popular project."
It did.
And I just really love that. For those curious, the game we're talking about today will be by the guy who wrote Goblins with a Fat Ass.
So we're dealing with Chad himself.
We're dealing with good stuff here.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Oh my god.
I was kind of proud of that segue, and now it's been destroyed.
I'm
it's
sorry. Fine. I couldn't. I saw it, and I was like, I can't not say anything about this.
Fair.
Too crazy, dude.
Wow. With another glorious intro out of the way, welcome back to the Sessions Canceled podcast. It's me, Isaiah. I'm here with Josh.
Greetings, Fraulein. Guten Morgen.
Yeah.
What?
Nothing.
That just mean good morning?
No, it did. This might be racist of me to say just because it's German, but the way you said it just gave me like Helsing flashbacks.
I mean, you know, for reasons.
It'd be the way. Anyway,
the London Bridge, or no, the Holocaust Museum. 9.
No one will deny what we did. Have I ever told you there's a great story of Lenny Pator, voice of the Major in the Abridged, going to a con?
Yes, you told me about this.
Okay. And they made him do the speech.
Yes, yeah.
Yep. I love that so much. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about the new brainworm that's infected me for the, time, because this keeps happening with RPGs where I'm reading this and be like, this is the coolest thing I've ever read. And it just keeps going.
I mean, this one's really up there.
Dude, it's so right. So
it's
you like
really
it, right?
No, yeah. I mean, I have a little bit of nuance to say about it, but yes,
it's pretty peak. We're talking about CAIN, and okay. So just some background information. This game is created by Tom Bloom, Goblins with a Fast. He also made classics such as the comic book Kill 6 Billion Demons, Maledictum Malagothica, Lancer, and his magnum opus, as we've spoken about, Goblins with a Fat Ass.
Yeah, I mean, Lancer probably being the most well-known game that he worked on, I would say.
Yes, in terms of games, for sure, yeah, it'd probably be Lancer, and then obviously the comic that kind of put him on the map for Kill 6 Billion Demons, which is ending soon, I think.
Interesting. Yeah, I hear a lot of people talk about Lancer, so...
Yeah, so good. 60-second elevator pitch. CAIN is what you get. You take Jujutsu Kaisen, and then you mix in a little Chainsaw Man, sprinkle some Persona.
I would say a lot of Chainsaw Man.
A lot of Chainsaw Man.
You can say a lot of Chainsaw.
There's a Supernatural, and then you garnish it, you Salt Bay it with a touch of Akira. That sounds sick, right? I know. Just general thoughts on the vibes. I don't think I can really capture how immaculate the vibes of this game are.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would say probably half of the selling point of this game is the vibes. Like, it is deeply Here's what I would say. If I were reviewing, not that we do formal reviews, but if I were to formally review this game, this would be a really hard game to review because if you like the vibe, it's 10 out of 10. If you think the vibe is weird, it's going to be a really tough sell.
You know what? That's true.
It is deeply focused on the vibe.
It's actually really interesting. I'm going to bring this up a little bit later. This game managed to accomplish the like terrifying, brutal atmosphere that you would get out of something like a Warhammer or like a hardcore D&D, but managed to do so in a way that I don't feel like is mean or bullying to the player.
Yeah.
I
mean, yeah. I mean, yeah, I think I get what you mean. I didn't think about it, but yeah.
I think it managed to hit, and yes, I am biased when I say this. It managed to hit a level of sweet spot. I wouldn't necessarily say on level with Vincent Baker, but like close.
I would say mechanically, it's not necessarily pushing in quite that same way, but in terms of tone and really pulling from the source material in a meaningful way, yes.
Yes, that's kind of what I mean. Well, like we've talked for literally 4 episodes on how 15 head Vincent Baker's mechanical design is.
Yeah.
And I think
it's almost impossible to replicate.
Yes, correct. With that in mind, again, there are a lot of really delicate sweet spots that I think this game nails in a lot of really interesting ways, and I can't wait to talk about it. So I think we should just get into it. Before we do, though, please follow us on your podcast platform of choice. Appreciate that. Kisses. Mwah.
Oh yeah.
I should get one of the ASMR mics with the ear.
No.
Yes.
No.
Like, you don't want to hear my dulcet tones that I'm still getting over that sickness 6 weeks later. My voice still has this fucking annoying rasp to it.
Nope.
Damn. I'll never be a voice actor. Sad. Anyway, if I've already hooked you on that 60-second elevator pitch, and I'm sure I have, because it's peak, and I'm sure you, dear listener, have good taste.
Yeah, I mean, basically, listen, if you're a fucking weeb and you thought Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man were cool, you're in.
It draws from so many things, right? Because you're like, you could be really into JJK and not vibe with Chainsaw Man and still find something you like. You could be super into Chainsaw Man and, nothing else and be sold. You could be really into like shonen battle manga and not give a shit about Supernatural.
I mean,
and
JJK is a shonen battle manga.
Yes. Or my mom doesn't give a fuck about anime. She loves this game. I ran it for her because I was like, well, it's kind of like Supernatural. You're kind of investigating paranormal things and then solving them with violent murder. And she went,
yeah,
okay, I like that. Like, yeah. There's something for anyone to glom onto with this game.
There is certainly a lot of things, but for me, the Chainsaw Man and Jujutsu Kaisen vibe hit the hardest, I think. Particularly when you start talking about the sins, like, especially the way a lot of them were described. I mean, the Minotaur one in the ogre section immediately made me think of that episode of Chainsaw Man where they're like in the like hotel building.
Tenement. Yeah, the tenement apartment. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, dude, the Minotaur is so sick looking. I really like Bucephalus. That just has such vibes. Also, it's named Bucephalus. That's like, did you see the one for the Hound? Oh God, what's it called? Dulahan?
Yes, yeah.
The Cat 5 one that's on the highway and it's like the size of a fucking skyscraper. So cool. Oh yeah, you're hooked. Awesome. What's the game actually about, Isaiah? Don't worry, I'm gonna tell you. So in CAIN, and yes, it's CAIN, but it's CAIN because you have to spell it, say it, and think it in all caps.
It's in all caps. CAIN.
You play the role of a psychic exorcist.
You play a sorcerer. Exorcist.
Right. Totally not a Jujutsu sorcerer.
A legally distinct Jujutsu sorcerer.
You could honestly, I think there is a cool headcanon that you could make an argument that JJK is just the Japanese branch of CAIN.
I could see that, yeah.
That'd be cool. Yes, you're a psychic exorcist tasked with investigating and the hunting of the manifested traumas from people's collective unconscious. Basically, if someone has a bad enough time, they manifest
They make
an
a big scary
SCP
monster.
that you have to hunt or die trying. You, as the eponymous exorcist, are part of the CAIN, or the CAIN organization, a para-governmental global org that deems you, dear exorcist, as something other than human due to the manifestation of a sin seed titled Grace, thus making you akin to like a partial sin yourself. This is what gives you your cool psychic powers.
Yeah, again, much like Chainsaw Man, the main character's cool psychic powers are the same thing that fuels the bad guys.
Right. Now, you might be like, a sin seed, what's that? Wow. A sin, as we've said, are the name given to the totally not cursed spirits, a la JJK in the setting. They are big, scary monsters that represent the aspects of human trauma, either through grief or idolatry and narcissism, the like desire for death on a mass scale.
Somebody has a deep emotional trauma, and it turns them into an awful, grotesque monster through weird negative power called grace.
Yes.
And they turn into like, kind of a weird SCP monster in a way.
Well, so either you turn into one or you are haunted by one.
Or you're haunted by one, or you merge with one. Yeah, there's a couple of different ways. But the point is, one spawns.
One spawns, yes. Typically, when a sin spawns, it is known as a sin event, which, depending on the category, there's a whole power scaling category scale.
There's a shonen power scaling system.
Yes. Depending on that, people just die in mass numbers of just like straight up brain hemorrhaging. They just keel over because the sin.
The scary monster is born and everyone's mind pops like a grape.
Yes, it's very honestly. You can add like Fire Force and Warhammer 40k to this growing list of shit that you'd be like, yeah, this is fair.
It also has a little bit. There is also a lot of how do I want to put it? I don't want to say the game is Christian. That's not what I mean. But it uses a lot of like the negative, darker elements of actual Christianity to sort of represent it. So the idea of the sin being born and everyone loses their mind is, it has that kind of vibe of like when the angel shows up in Christianity and nobody can comprehend it kind of thing going on there. Like there's some of that weird Christianity thing going on too.
It's really funny. It basically says if a normal person looks at a sin, and they're invisible to normal people, but if something happens and you look at it for more than 3 seconds, you just have a stroke. You just stroke out.
Die. Yeah.
You just
well, they're not always invisible to normal people. It depends.
Yeah, the idols typically aren't. Yeah, but
idols aren't. And also if it's one that's merged with a human, then you can see the person and it can still fuck with your brain if they're like partially fucked up or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it actually describes in the like example investigation, it uses an ogre, but it says that the ogre is like possessing the guy and that somebody saw him and then like went catatonic.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, dude, we're going to talk. I have notes about that in the end. The sample investigation is a masterclass work.
Is that what you ran?
No, I made my own. But I ran an ogre.
Oh,
so that one just happened to be really helpful for me.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the ogre.
It just has, I think the best vibes is the centipede. But
did I look at that one? I don't think I looked at that one.
Oh, interesting. Okay. We'll get we might talk about it a little bit. I think the one with the best vibes is the centipede. I think the easiest to run is the ogre, and the most fear-inducing is the hound.
Okay.
I like the Lord because it's sort of an amalgam of other ones, and it also is just a reality warper. It's just like, it's literally the like be not afraid angel thing, and the toad I arguably care about the least. I just don't find it particularly.
We're jumping ahead too much though.
We are jumping ahead too much, yeah. Now, I mentioned before that like this game hits a weird sweet spot, and you might be like, "What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that, white boy? What do you mean by that?" This game, in its playing to its greater battle shonen heart, has not many fights, but very important ones. And battles in CAIN are rare, very visceral,
visceral and
brutal. Like,
yeah, it takes the approach kind of like what Fabula says. Don't be doing a fight unless it's like worth it.
Yes.
Right. There needs to be a reason that needs to be worth it. So you don't tend to fight a lot of grungos. There are grungos in the game. It's kind of funny actually, because when I was reading, I was like, okay, so it keeps talking about fighting the sins. I was like, but it also explicitly says that exorcists are going to get their shit rocked by sins a lot of the time, because sins are generally just a lot stronger. I was like, so are there grungos for me to beat up on from time to time just for the fun of it? And there are, but they're towards the back of the book, and the game is basically like, grungos are less important.
Yes, every sin type has their own little grunglos that you can fight. So the ogre has the stumblers, the idol has cultists, the hound has, I don't remember what they're called, Mirrodins, Centipede has zombies.
Yeah.
Toad has,
and it does give you it does give you a little bit of breakdown towards the very, very end to fight like humans or like weird cultist worshippers of sins and stuff. So like there is also some of that in there.
Yes.
In case anyone's curious, it's not.
I like
just,
that they have real Illuminati.
Yes. It's not only fighting the boss monster, but the boss monster fight is the most important by far.
Right, and something I really like that they did is that they didn't give you a bunch of randos in the thing. Like, they very specifically gave you shit that you are probably going to be fighting as a cool psychic exorcist. So, like, security, police, right? Like, normal people, mercenaries, like, military outfits that you're going to be fighting, and then crazy sin-worshipping cultists. Like, that's not going to cover everything you need, but that's pretty close.
It'll cover a lot.
Yeah, that covers a lot. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the preamble. I think we can get into some general thoughts. This game is sick. Everything from the lore to the insanely good design and layout of the book. This game packs like a ridiculous amount of quality into just 162 pages.
Oh yeah, it's a pretty short game. Which may or may not be a selling point for someone, depending. I do want to briefly bring up the layout. There are some bits of the game where the game goes for aesthetic over legibility. So there are some parts here, not the whole book. It doesn't do it all the time, but there are some parts of the book here and there where you're going to be like, what's the next part that I'm supposed to be reading? Because it's like a big, cool, like mishmash. The text is on notes and is like scrawled around the screen kind of thing. There's a couple of parts that'll be like that. So, be aware, I guess.
Yes, I mean, the game is, the book is designed to replicate a mission briefing. So you get like...
Yeah, a lot of it. I wouldn't say even all of it is, but a lot of it is, yeah.
Most of it, yeah. Everything from like the way you build your characters, that they're all written on like sticky notes or pieces of booklet that are taped into the book, and you get a lot of like actual pictures that have been distorted and photoshopped. You get a lot of really cool stuff.
Yes, there is a lot of like slapping in actual photos in this book.
I think it's very effective.
No, it is. I just think it's kind of funny.
It's very evocative. It just hits. It hits something. I don't know.
Right next to Legally Distinct Gojo.
I love Legally Distinct Gojo. He's my favorite.
It's so funny every time I look at it.
I think one of the really funny thing, if you look at the outfit for CAIN Exorcist, that's basically the Gojo outfit, except it comes with a cape.
Yeah,
and you see it on the first page that the chick who looks real angry, she's just got this fucking cape on, and you're like,
yeah,
why is this part of your standard battle dress uniform? You're walking around public with this thing on.
She's dripped out, dog. It seems like a lot of them get a sarong, which I approve of.
Yes, because they're wearing Cossacks, like priest uniforms.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said,
Although,
there's a lot of that
technically-
like kind of Christian vibe thing going on.
Yeah, so fun fact, as a first-time exorcist, you just get like a shitty fucking Pulp Fiction suit, like literally the suits from Chainsaw Man, just like a standard polyester suit with like ill-fitted plastic shoes. They give you nothing.
Yeah, the game also specifically says you get like shitty, uncomfortable shoes.
Yes, and one of the upgrades you can get is actual nice
shoes.
fitted shoes.
Yep.
And like casual clothes, like pajamas.
Yep.
It's great. Yeah, I mean, I can't say it enough. The vibes for this game is great. It captures a lot of really fun shit. And it's insane, you know, again, how well the game is balanced. I feel like I'm repeating myself over and over again. But it just hits it. I don't know.
Well,
insofar as to like the game.
What do you mean? I guess what do you mean by balanced in this case? Because
the way in which the game manages to capture the feeling of a meat grinder styled game, but it gives players several quite reliable means to avoid brutal murder. At the same time, each time your character does survive that brutal murder, it is literally described how their personality, physical form, and mental state are changed and scarred. Frankly, it's like genius design, like the way that some of these severe attacks can like lop off limbs, and like, yeah, you can go back to CAIN and have a Flux Master regrow that arm for you, but it's never going to be perfect, right? You're going to have that phantom pain. Your character's going to think about how they got their arm crushed horribly under a car.
Flux Master? What the hell you did? What?
Flux, like someone who's a master of the flux blasphemy, can turn back time to heal wounds.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Damn you, I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah, sorry. There's an interesting conversation to be had, and I talked about this with the Vincent Baker thing, how the game manages to play with perceived difficulty versus practical difficulty, because the game seems like it's fucking impossible sometimes. Like, the sins do so much damage when they hit you, and the way it's described that you're just constantly fighting for your life, and it literally says only 40% of first-time exorcists survive their first hunt. That's nuts. And given actual practical play, that makes sense, because on the first mission, on the first time I ran it, every player took at least 2 injuries, which permanently reduces the strain that they can take by 1 point each, so 2. And on the second one, the players almost died, or they've taken injuries before they even found the Sin host. Once again, we'll explain what that is later. But at no point did I feel like, oh, the game's kind of screwing them. You know, it was usually, oh, I don't think they made the right decision here. They could have done things differently, but it's not like, oh God, the game's just bullying them. It's just they took decisions that either made the game more difficult, you know, it imposed something like hard or risky on them, or they were a little rash and didn't look around as much as they probably could or should have. But it never feels unfair. I don't know why I can't speak today.
It gives you quite a few ways to basically to like hedge your bets and set yourself up for success before you go straight towards the meat grinding session. Yes.
Mr. Bloom's art also, again, we've talked about it several times.
Yeah, his art's very good. Well, it's I don't remember if I said this like on recording or not. I don't think I did. His art is kind of funny to me because it is good, but you can also get the immediate sense that he's probably didn't go to school for it, like kind of artist, like taught himself just through like sheer practice, because there's these little elements, there's these little things here and there where I'm like, oh, you're doing it that way because you didn't get the formal training, but you kind of figured out how to draw it on your own kind of vibe. You know what I mean? Which, I mean, I'm not even really saying it as a negative. It just kind of is a thing. And it gives it actually kind of worked out in his favor, because it gives him a little bit of like this distinctive feeling to his art that is hard to pinpoint. particularly when you're talking about his robots. The robot designs are fucking crazy in Lancer.
Oh, they're great. Yeah, I mean, I think, again, he managed to hit a cool sweet spot where the machines in Lancer, save for the ones that are like directly referencing other shit, like the fact that the Death's Head is a Tachikoma from Ghost in the Shell, or, I mean, all of the SSC ones are anime references, right? Like they're either Evangelion or Macrosses or just the Tachikoma. Besides those, every mech has a unique feel that doesn't feel like anything else. Yeah. And I think it's because they all look so humanoid. They look like giant dudes in like power armor.
Yeah, he's good at robots. He's also very good at monsters.
Dude, the Sin artist.
It's the people where you notice some of what I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I will. I mean, on page 20, there's the cool exorcist chick at the suit who's doing the like throwing the peace sign up, or the wanker sign. I don't know. But like her hand is a little.
Yeah, there's these little elements of awkwardness.
Yeah. It's again, it feels almost intentional. It like, I don't know.
Well, it kind of works in his benefit. Intentional.
It's confident. It's done confidently.
Oh yeah, it's definitely done confidently.
I think this is like a weird thing that I think is really understated to people who aren't artists, who like don't know. When you understand art and how it's made, you can tell when someone makes brushstrokes confidently
with
and when
confidence,
they don't,
or being unsure of themselves.
Yeah, it's immediately evident. I suffer from this problem real bad. My brushstrokes are not very confident. I'm not particularly confident in my 2D. My 3D is quite good though.
You also notice that particular problem less in 3D.
You do, yeah. Well, so
it's there, but it's different.
I think one of the biggest mistakes our 3D professor ever told us was, if you want something to look good, make it dirty. I like fundamentally disagree with that, because that kills all nuance.
I mean, it depends on the context.
Well, so like most of the time, if you're doing product viz, because he told us this for our lighting and texturing class, when you're doing product visualization, you're typically not going to be making things that have been out in the elements for 20 years, right? You're making like a cell phone right off the factory floor.
But I think the point he was making is that if you're trying to make something that looks like it's lived in and used and stuff, it's not gonna be perfectly clean, because nothing can stay perfectly clean, you know?
No, you're right. Yes, that's what he's saying. But he didn't provide the nuance to the statement. And a lot of our classmates, like I'd be like texturing something that had like that was made with a specific situation in my mind, and they were like, make it dirtier. Like, it doesn't need to be dirtier. It needs to be maybe more lived in, but I'm not going to throw a bunch of dirt, grunges, and scratches all over it, because it's not going to need that. Yeah,
narrative context is relevant.
Yeah. I think he should have given the caveat. He did not, and it still haunts some of the 3D classmates I have. Anyway. We've been sort of prattling on about the vibes of this game. We might as well get down to the
the vibes are very important. Like,
right. I shouldn't say prattling. We've been talking about them quite a bit.
The vibes are really relevant. Again, if you don't like the vibe that this game is presenting, I think you're going to have a really hard time finding other things to like in the game, because the vibe suffuses everything in the game.
It does, yeah.
You know, as opposed to a game like as opposed to most of your standard fantasy-esque games, where the vibe it's trying to sell you is kind of a starting point, but you can create and work within that starting point and create lots of different things, right? Like D&D has a set vibe, but it's pretty easy to like mess around with it and change it and reorganize it. This game is only designed to play one thing, and is really only gonna let you play one thing, and that's, exorcists hunting down sins.
Yes,
you're gonna have a really hard time trying to make this game do anything else.
Yes, the iteration is going to be very difficult. Lancer,
unless you're hacking up a literally new game.
Yeah, with something like Lancer, as long as you're doing mech adjacent shit, you're gonna be pretty much okay. But this game, you are hard limited to investigative paranormal execution squad. It's because those are literally the main things of the game.
It's very similar to how Blades in the Dark is. Honestly.
Right. Yes. Honestly, there's a lot of blades in this game.
There's a ton of blades in this game.
Like a ridiculous amount. Yeah. It's
this game is honestly, I don't know if the creator has stated it as such, but this game is basically a Forged in the Dark game.
It's pretty fucking close. I think I brought up Blades in the Dark like 6 or 7 times in my notes.
Yeah, it's all over here. I don't know if he said it explicitly as such, but that's pretty much what it is.
Mm-hmm. Onto CAIN's gameplay, you can separate the game into essentially 3, if not 4, main parts. You have your briefing, your investigation, your hunt, and your downtime. The reason why I say kind of 4 is because downtime in this game
isn't formalized
like it is in Lancer.
Or Blades
for that matter.
Yeah.
It's a thing that happens. It's a thing where you spend resources. But in Lancer and Blades, downtime is a formalized, bespoke thing with like phases and actions and all that stuff.
And mechanics that you can use to give yourselves benefits and shit.
Yeah. You don't really have that here. It's pretty much, okay, you guys, you're taken away on the Blackhawks and you're brought back to CAIN and you can do some stuff like, get a kitchen installed in your room or talk to your family, but then you're right back out on the next helicopter doing your next mission.
Yeah, it didn't attach any mechanics or specific order of operations to downtime, and I think the reason for that is to reinforce the meat grinder vibe of like, all right, mission done, back to the next mission, dork, like that kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It is the Exorcists in CAIN. You are literally not seen as people. You do not have human rights because you are not seen as a human. You are expendable assets, and you will be expended, and maybe you will live long enough to retire, because that is an option.
Kind of funny because I feel like this is one of those situations. They don't really get into it that much, but I feel like this is one of those situations where the corporate structure of CAIN, the company, is probably run by a bunch of douchebags in suits. So if all the Exorcists were like, you know what, let's revolt, they probably would have 0 chance.
They have the virtues, which is kind of the issue.
Right, but if the virtues were like, fuck it, screw the bosses,
Well, yes, if Retribution was like, I think I'm done here.
Yeah.
I don't know anything that can stop Retribution given her 2-paragraph description of a walking calamity that exceeds category 7.
Yeah. So it's like, it's one of those funny things. And this is actually also probably intentional, where it's like, yeah, you don't have any powers, you're expendable, but also if you revolt, they're going to be in big trouble.
Yeah.
It feels like some social commentary.
Yeah, I know, for sure.
Which this author is a fan of, so,
Yes. Yeah, I mean, yes. Espoused Marxist Tom Bloom. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's weird. It strikes a really funny middle ground because yes, you're an expendable asset, but they're like, but hey, survive your first couple missions, you're going to Fiji, bitch.
Yeah.
Because you can spend the resource called script. I hate that word. It's a real thing. It just sort of means like, resources, currency, money.
Yeah.
You can spend it to add on to your either your living quarters or do things like have visitation rights with your family. And one of them is like you get a week paid vacation and some spending money. And can you imagine like you're the only one to survive your mission, you're scarred, you're terrified, the PTSD is cranking out in your head, and your handler is in a bikini and a sun hat like, guess who's going to Hawaii?
Yeah, and you're just like, cool.
Good news, you get all your teammates spending money. Right? Mm-hmm. Look who's living the life.
Bad news, they're still dead.
They are still dead. Yeah. I looked like you had a crush on that one. That's unfortunate. That's tough. But hey, Hawaii. I want to do that next. If I run one of these, like I run a campaign, I want several exorcists to die, and the handler's like, "Who's ready for Tahiti?"
Y'all want to go to the DR?
Oh my god, that'd be amazing. Sorry, I'm like we keep getting sidetracked. This is terrible. The briefing phase in the game is very, very similar to Lancer, in that it is in fact a bespoke thing where the admin, the GM, provides players with mission critical information that will, amongst other things, extrapolate on what is going on in the situation, where the area of the sin's manifestation will preside, and very specifically, the sin, its category type, because sins can manifest in one to three formation categories, and the most specific thing being the trauma questions, which are essentially narrative devices that emerge in the form of like whodunit clues. You use the trauma questions to decipher who the host of the sin is, why that thing happened to them, and the cool mechanical benefit to solving these questions is that they become the actual main methods of attack against the sin. You essentially, the power of Christ compels you hold the book up to the sin and deal an ass load of damage to it, including using it to interrupt the sin's moves, which is really cool.
Oh, see, I thought it was more like you espouse the trauma to the sin and that sort of fucks it up and gives it pause because you're like getting in its head.
You are, yeah, but it also does physical damage to it. It like unravels its physical form.
Right, but because it's a weird psychic monster, I assume those two things were just kind of linked.
Yeah, I'm not. That's pretty much what I was saying.
I didn't imagine of you waving the holy book at him.
No, I'm being sort of facetious with that. No, but you basically, you run up to the sin and you say the host's name. You tell them, you are this way because your wife left you or whatever, and it does physical damage to the sin.
Yeah.
After the briefing, you get your investigation. This is the majority of the game. I would argue about 60+% of the game takes place in the investigation. Your characters get hot dropped into the area, and that is where the actual ascertaining of information comes from. Typically, there is an inciting event like a forensics team, and you go and do some light investigation there. You find out about, the Jane Doe who showed up in the middle of the night, and then you go, okay, well, let's try to find this person. That takes you to a police station. That police station brings you to a hospital. And from there, you start to gather information. When I ran this, I bought little dollar store like pocket notebooks, the ones that are like, only a couple inches by a couple inches in dimension. And I bought a bunch of pens, and I just handed them out to my family and the people I was running for. I ran it for Paladin, Matt, and Sareth. And I was like, here's your little notebook. You're going to need this. And they used them, actually. The game, it'll throw a lot of information at you, for sure. It's at this point where you really hone in on the whys of the game, and I think it's where the game works a lot of its magic. In a way that is, again, similar to Vincent Baker. Once you start to unravel the mystery of a sin, the like aha moment just keeps happening in a really satisfying and constructive way. And it has this double effect where you found one piece of evidence that might unravel one of the trauma questions, and you go, oh, okay, so if we do this, and your players literally start doing that thing that they dread doing in D&D, the like actually putting the mystery together. Crazy when the game provides you tools to do it. It's fun.
Well, so I actually wanted to talk about that. The game actually doesn't really provide you tools to do it, and that's kind of what makes it a good mystery or investigation game.
Interesting. Okay.
And what I mean by that is, so a lot of the time, part of the reason that investigations don't work in something like D&D, or a game will say it's about investigations but doesn't end up really feeling like it's about investigations, is because, because they will give you like a skip the investigation ability. Right, so in D&D, you literally have a skill called investigation. You have insight, you have perception. Those skills kind of let you skip over the problem. You don't really need to investigate. You just roll and the GM will tell you what you want to know, right? Monster of the Week has a similar thing where it talks about investigations, but it's not really an investigation game because there's a move that is the investigation move that's just going to give you all the answers you need if you like roll well enough. This game does not give the characters any specific mechanics other than maybe a couple of the like blasphemy powers, but those are essentially spells. It doesn't give them any specific mechanics to find the answers to the questions. What it does is it gives them like starting points and a clear objective. Remember when we talked about actionable phrases? This game gives you a whole bunch of those. And then it basically says to the GM, it says, all right, admin, these are the things they need to find out. And it specifically says in the section about running the game, basically what I said when we were talking about it in Fabula, where you want to keep nudging them towards the answer. It says if they go to look for the answer and it makes sense, you should just reasonably give it to them. And if they don't get it, then you should give them another piece of information to push them in the correct direction. So the reason it actually works as an investigation game is you have very clear things to look for, and it doesn't give you a way to skip over that. You as a player have to engage with that no matter what, and you get very directly rewarded once you go for the very clear objective. Right. And at the end of the day, the final objective is always the same, which is get to the palace.
Right. And I think something that is really effective that this game does, and it tells the GM to do, is create through lines where almost any piece of information can lead into another. The game actually describes to you like a flow chart. It shows it to you. And it creates it in terms of tiered information. So you have critical information, you have secondary information, and tertiary information. I'll get into those later, but essentially the way it works is that you get fed a piece, not all of it, but a piece of critical information. That will inform the majority of your investigation. Through that, you're able to acquire secondary information, things that will inevitably either lead you back to critical information or expand into tertiary information. The tertiary information are through lines that guide you back to important pieces of secondary information, which will help you find the next piece of critical information. It's a massive web that is designed from top to bottom to make it so the players are always finding something, and it's giving you pieces to go, oh, well, they're here. Okay, I can take this piece and drag it here for them.
Yeah, effectively, the game has really, really good guidance on how to run the actual investigating part and doesn't just leave it for you to figure out on a whim. It's very clear about how you should go about it.
I would go as far as to say I find this to be the gold standard for how to run investigations. Having run it twice now, it's so effective.
I haven't looked at enough other games to say on that one, but it definitely is doing its job well. I can tell just by looking at it. I don't even really need to run it. I can just, it's explaining things in a way that I'm like, yes, this is a good idea, good way to do it. One little thing I should point out, there is an investigation skill that does exist, but the investigation skill does not just let you skip the investigating. It's just for investigating minute details about certain like scenarios. So for example, it says things you could use it for: decoding physically engraved occult symbols, determining the origins and properties of a mysterious slimy substance, calculating the trajectory of a bullet fired as a murder weapon based on blood splatters and skull fragments. So it's like the investigation skill is to pick up on stuff about the clues, but what it doesn't do is it doesn't say, figure out where the palace is, right? There's no skill that just tells you where the Sin's palace is. You have to figure that out. Like, that's part of your work as a player.
Right.
It's kind of like, again, with old school D&D, where you went into the dungeon room. You didn't just roll dice. You had to say, my character physically lifts the bed. My character checks the desk. My character looks under the drawer, under the desk. My character moves the chair. Like, you had to describe that kind of stuff. This game is we're operating in that similar space, but key difference being the game explicitly tells the GM to always push the characters in the correct direction, which old school D&D didn't really, as far as I'm aware.
No, it didn't. And like, the reason why I call it the gold standard is I've seen, I've read investigations in modules, right?
Yeah.
And they always seem to either be more linear than I want or sort of aimless, like the Death House. The Death House is aimless.
It's very aimless, yeah.
You're just sort of poking shit until something fucking happens.
Because the Death House throws you in there and you don't have any actionable, clear objective, right? You don't know why you're there. You're just there. In this game, the Death House would be like, the sin is in the building. Find the sin in the building,
Yes. On the flip side, you get the Descent into Avernus, figure out what the cultists are doing, and the game presents it to you as an investigation, but the only thing the game can really give you is a dungeon crawl.
Yeah, you just follow a specific path.
Yeah, so either there's nothing to go off of, or it's a straight line or a dungeon.
Yeah.
And this game very specifically goes, nope.
It's a web.
We're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And they take you by the hand.
And also, ultimately, this game also basically has a built-in ripcord, which is if you don't find the answer, shit's going to get real bad, and then the sin's basically just going to kick your teeth in at the end.
Well, so you know what's funny? It has a literal Matt Colville orcs attack thing going on.
Yeah.
Because one of your reactions, because you as the, much like a PBTA game, you as the GM get reactions in your tension and pressure moves. And one of them is just the sin attacks.
Yeah, they just get attacked. Yeah.
And the cool thing about the sin attacks, right, is that it's going to wallop the shit out of you. But it's very specifically not at its strongest because it's not in the palace. It's designed to be beat. It doesn't even have as much health as it otherwise would have.
Yeah.
But when you do damage to it, it runs away. It doesn't blip out of existence. It just retreats. And that gives the player something to follow, which will lead them to the next piece of evidence.
And even if they still somehow fuck it up, at the end of the day, if the pressure gauge maxes out, there's the catastrophic breakdown thing that happens, and then the mission fails and you have to bail out, basically. So
you have to bail out, regroup, and then come back.
Yeah. So no matter what, something is going to happen, whether the players are doing good or not. Like, the GM is going to push. It's that thing I was saying, again, when we were talking about this with the investigation episode, where I was like, even if the players aren't doing anything, still push the story forward, still have the NPCs do something. If the exorcists don't do shit in this game, the sin is still getting stronger, growing, and fucking things up. And there's no stopping it from doing that.
Right. The cool thing, too, that this game does, which I like a lot, is because it has the two very specific countdown clocks being your tension and pressure gauges, it's very difficult for players to not do anything. It's difficult for players to not understand the passing of time.
Yeah,
because every time a scene changes, you tick up once on the tension clock. It's a 3-tick clock. Every
and
time
it very explicitly says they always need to be able to see that tension clock.
Yes, they always see that and the pressure clock.
Yeah, they have to be able to see. The players have to be able to see those. You can't hide them.
And once per scene, if they, I think it's if they roll, I think it's they either have to roll all one. No, if they roll a 1 on a risk die.
Risky roll, yeah.
That will automatically tick up once to a maximum of once per scene. So that's, supposed to explain or extract or not explain. What's the word I'm looking for?
Abstract.
It's supposed to abstract the idea that something has gone critically wrong, and now it's taking you more time to fix your fuck up.
Fuck up. Yeah.
I'm struggling to put words together today. It's killing me. I only did this for 3 days. I don't know what I'm doing. Rain, please. Anyway, yes. And we talked about this earlier. Oh God, what did we talk about this in? I think it was the Monster Hearts episode. I really like the idea of tension and pressure moves because it allows you to be meaner or more severe with your GM reactions because the players have active ability to see what's going on and try to prevent it, right?
Yeah.
I talked about how in Monster Hearts, the fact that they're not someone's darkest self.
They're not faffing about in the dark.
Yes. Like the fact that the MC can force dark itself in Monster Hearts is cool, and it tells you, do it sparingly.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it's not accounting for assholes, but sparingly is kind of an abstract, right? Is it sparingly per character, or sparingly per party,
session,
or sparingly per
campaign.
session? There's no real right or wrong on that. But when you're doing a pressure move and it says, when pressure gets this high, you have these specific moves you can do, you go, oh, okay, so I can only use them when things get this level of foobar.
Yes, yeah.
I get it. I understand.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's like, you can only bust out the fuck you button when the players have fucked up enough to warrant it.
Yes. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that the game accounts for it, but isn't coddling you or is trying to sort of backseat GM you into doing things the right way. It's just telling you this is what you should expect from this level of tomfuckery going on.
Yeah, it's kind of saying, hey GM, your players are going to be operating on the back foot basically all the time. So you need to give them enough information to try and level the playing field in their favor as much as humanly possible.
Yes.
It's like, it's self-aware of what the issue could be.
Mm-hmm. I just now realized that we haven't talked about the final two steps of the game, which is the hunt and downtime. So let's do that real quick. The hunt is effectively the opposite face to the investigation, insofar as it coincides with the players discovering the truth of any like particular situation during the sin event. But the game does specifically suggest that you hold off on the hunting of the sin until you've gained as much information about the sin as you are comfortable with to stack as many dice on your side as you can, because you will need them. You can, if you're lucky, right? You can stumble upon the palace at pressure 0, tension 1. But there is a very good chance the sin is still gonna kick your ass because you don't know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
You're just sort of gonna be stumbling around blindly in the dark, and then it's gonna kick your ass. So the game says, players, exorcists, put your thinking caps on and do some investigating. It behooves you to do so. And it's that reward of, if you find the right information, you get to do just free damage to the sin that would otherwise either cost you a sin overflow or extreme stress. Thoughts on the hunt?
No, I mean, yeah, it's cool. You have to go in, you have to investigate. Like, yeah, there's very clear steps, and again, the game does not give you a skip the investigation button, so you really have to go out of your way and do it. And assuming that the GM is doing as the game asks of them, you know that you're always going to be nudging towards something. The pressure clock is a good idea for a multitude of reasons. Yeah, like, it also has that shonen vibe. Like, it has almost like a JoJo vibe where it's like, beginning of the episode, we're just wandering around and we're duped to doing, and then middle of the episode, some weird shit happens, and we're like, huh, okay. And then like, 3/4 into the episode, we're like, what is going on? Why? Like, what's happening? We're getting attacked. And then the last step of the episode is, oh, we figured out what the sand user can do. Now we can beat them, right? It has that kind of a vibe to it. It's very shonen anime.
Very much so, yeah.
Actually, this game does a very good job in a lot of its mechanics, reinforcing the shonen anime vibe. Like, not just in terms of tone and like monsters and powers and all that, but also in terms of story beats and like episodic structure and all that. Like, it hits the shonen thing quite well.
Mm-hmm.
It even has, like we said, a power scaling system.
I can't wait to talk about the category system. It's in my notes. Don't worry, we're going to talk about it. The final step of gameplay is downtime, which again, much less mechanically driven than
execution should be.
Well, that's I'm lumping that in with the hunt. Maybe I should have called it the execution, but fair enough.
Yeah, well, the execution part is, it's just at the end of the hunt, once you've done the investigation and you find the sin, you go to their palace. Once you corner the sin in the palace, you have no choice but to execute them. You have no choice but to fight the sin. You can sometimes spare sins, apparently, but it's frowned upon by the CAIN administration.
Yes. You are literally, it's like, congratulations, you saved that person, and now we might have a new exorcist. We are paying you less, though, so just be aware of that.
It's generally frowned upon because they would much rather you just kill them all, because that's how they keep the paychecks rolling, as it were. There's also some kind of interesting commentary where the book specifically points out, like, hey, you might notice that CAIN's business plan doesn't seem like it's really solving any problems. Yeah, you might be right about that.
Yeah, I do like that. They're like, yeah, some people have voiced
Pointed
complaints.
out. Yeah.
Those people were not heard from again.
Yeah. Like, it's basically saying that, like, yes, the throwing exorcists at the sins over and over again does not actually fix the problem of sin spawning all the time. What would probably actually solve the problem of sin spawning all the time would be making people's lives better, but CAIN doesn't have any interest in that. Again, there's a lot of social commentary, like underseeding things.
Yes.
But yes, the execution is basically the final conflict with the sin that you are hunting down. The sin in question cannot run. That's just not on the table. They have to fight in their palace because their palace is their weird extra dimensional home that they exist in. And yeah.
You can, so this is something that's funny. You can actually momentarily, like, fuck off. You can run away. You can leave the palace because you're not stuck there. It is.
No, you're not, but the sin is.
And I had a situation where one of my players found the palace and was like, I wish to poke the bear with a stick. Uh-huh. And I went, you're alone, right? And she went, yeah, but I just want to see it. I want to see what's in there. And I was like, okay. And went in, saw the sin regenerating because they had gotten attacked by it, and then went, okay, I want to hit it. And I went, that's not a good idea. And she went,
no.
Well, I can just leave, right? If things get bad, I can just leave. And I was like, potentially.
Question.
Yeah, you could maybe leave if you're lucky enough. And she was like, I'm willing to take those odds. I don't have any injuries yet. She got an injury immediately. No. This was my cousin.
Oh, okay.
The one who I found out is really into Harry Potter fan fiction.
Oh. It sounds like something Sareth would do.
I believe Sareth is also into Harry Potter fan fiction.
I meant the I'm going to poke it with a stick thing.
No, look, she is the I poke it with a stick player.
Yes.
For sure. She is very similar to Ant, where she's just like, well, God gave me thumbs to hold this stick for a reason, so I'm just going to poke everything with a stick.
Yeah, I'm just going to do it.
And, I appreciate her for that. She's a real one. But yeah, no, my little cousin poked the sin with her proverbial stick and got immediately pieced up by it and took an injury. Because the sins work a lot, very similar, rather, to the way that monsters work in Apocalypse World and Dungeon World, where they don't have their own turns. They just react to whatever you do.
Respond, yeah.
Essentially meaning they have as many turns in the initiative, in quotations, as you do. Which is funny because that is a really effective way to scale difficulty. It effectively eliminates the need for what's the word I'm looking for? Challenge rating, assuming that the sin is not ridiculously much higher category than your exorcist.
You rely on the category instead. You don't need to worry about any kind of meta math to make it work.
It does say that unless they royally fuck up and trigger a sin event, your exorcist should always be going on hunts against sins of their category
level. Their level, yeah. Like, basically, yeah, the corporation's not going to throw them against enemies they can't handle type thing.
Yes. That's one of the really funny, odd, double-sided coins about the CAIN organization, where they care about you just enough.
Just enough, yeah.
Just enough as an asset. It's the Rick and Morty. I put so much money and work into you. I'm not just going to throw you away for a new model yet.
Well, yeah, it's the idea of, like, you care about your gun that you bought because you paid a lot of money for it and you clean it and maintain it so that you could shoot people with it. You don't care about the gun's feelings, but you care about the gun working. So you're not gonna, you're not gonna throw the gun in a vat of acid just to see what happens. That defeats the point of having it. So it's like, yeah, we're not gonna throw these idiot sorcerers who are category 1 at a category 5 ogre. We know they're gonna die. We're not that dumb.
There actually, I believe somewhere in the book, it does say that there was a some sort of clerical error with Seer to telemetry. And I think it might be one of the hounds where it was just like, yeah, the whole team died. We had to send in a stronger team.
Yeah, we fucked up. It was stronger than we thought.
Yeah, it's like not our best moment.
Our math was a little off.
Yeah. I'll find it. I'll find it at some point when we talk about it. But yeah, it was very good. And yeah, finally we have downtime, which, like I said, much less mechanically driven than in Bloom's previous game, though it does serve a similar purpose. During the downtime between missions, you can spend your script, like we said, which gives you certain buffs, or otherwise, and I use this word in quotations, useless, but still powerful narrative tools for you. You and your likely not long for this world exorcist. This is the I get to go on vacation thing. It's powerful for the narrative. It's powerful for your character, but not in any sense that it gives you a buff. It might just provide your character with the mental state that they need to keep going, because you can I think this game carries a similar vibe to Apocalypse World, where it kind of takes on a mind of its own with the Exorcists in the way that they're designed, the way their agendas work, and all that fun stuff.
How do you mean?
Well, so the agenda informs how the character acts, right?
Yeah.
Players can act however they want, right? But you are rewarded for acting in accordance with your agenda, and presumably you are building a character very specifically that acts in accordance with a specific agenda that the player wants to unfold.
Mm-hmm.
But the agendas provide you with two different items, or what they're called, essentially little taglines that describe how you get rewarded. So for something like I believe it's the beast or the animal, whatever it's called, or is it the demon? The one that just wants to fight everybody.
One that just wants to fight, yeah.
You get rewarded for starting fights. It literally, one of the items is start a fight.
Yeah, get into a fight, yeah.
The other one is hold back and use diplomacy. And I think it's cool that the game tells you, yeah, well, your character is going to question their own sense of morality, their own sense of purpose. And if that keeps happening, the game also says you can change agendas if you want to. You're not recommended that you do it constantly, because you will lose whatever agenda ability you have to take up a new one, but you can do it. So in the sense that your character is a demon,
you get rewarded. It is beast, by the way. You get rewarded extra if you tap into your bolded one, and the bolded agenda item is always opposite the non-bolded agenda item.
Yes. So you can imagine a situation where a beast character keeps losing fights, right? They keep picking fights with sins or their little hangers-on and keep getting walloped.
And getting clapped.
Or even worse, they pick a fight and cause one of their friends to die. That character might not want to go on anymore. And unfortunately, you don't get a choice. You don't get to retire your character until that character fucking dies, or you buy your way out with script. But the fact that your character can go to Fiji for a week with the friends that they still do have might be what that character needs to potentially change their agenda and keep going and not self-sabotage, because I could totally see if you really wanted to get into character for this game, your exorcist just giving up. Imagine fighting a centipede with all the zombies and you just walk into the horde because you're like, I'm done. I just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
That's one of those things. You get a lot of discussion about this. I believe this happened in campaign 2 of Critical Role with Erika Ishii's character. I think it's Erika Ishii's character. Mm-hmm. No, it was Ashley Birch's character. Freezing up in the fight with the slaver dude, and that's why Molly dies, because she actively does not do the optimal thing and take an action to help him.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about this. I didn't watch it, but yes, I've heard about this.
Yeah, and she got a lot of shit for that.
Yeah.
And like,
well, because in D&D, there's kind of no reason to do that, you know?
Right, but the way that they're playing D&D as a narrative first game, not that it necessarily is by design, but the way that they are using it, and it likely informed a lot of the way that they designed Daggerheart,
yes,
is to be more narrative facing. So the fact that she would do that because that's the more powerful thing to do in the narrative as a victim of a slave master, yeah, bad things are going to happen when you freeze up in the middle of a fight. I think as a game master, if someone wanted to have that moment and players at the table were like cool with it, I don't see why you have any problem with letting it happen.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily have a problem with it, but I don't know. I might discourage doing it because I don't know how to discourage. I guess if a player had that thought and it was very clear that another player's character was gonna die because of that, I would look at the other player and be like, are you okay with them making this clearly stupid move? You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, assuming you had that talk and everyone's okay with it. And I don't think this is going to happen often. I think it requires a very specific set of circumstances for a character to self-delete like that. That's a pretty heavy thing to do, you know?
Yeah.
But I still think it could be really interesting and really moving in the narrative for that to happen. And the fact that your character going on vacation could otherwise stop that because that's just the slight human connection they need to power on with their awful life as an exorcist.
Yeah.
The game, it even talks about, in its safety tools about how this game is going to get heavy. You're dealing with trauma intrinsically. Your characters literally cannot escape trauma themselves. The sins have specific moves that can give you additional agenda items that typically suck. They're really not you get experience for them, but it's talk down to a player because you think they're going to let you down intrinsically or lash out angrily at somebody. Your character's getting fucking traumatized, bud. He's having a bad time.
Yeah.
This is not where in my notes, but I don't know. I really appreciate how the game really presents mental illness and suffering in a way that isn't played for shock value. Right? Because it could be oh yeah, you figure out what people's trauma things are, and then you kill those things. But if it's oh yeah, this person's wife left them, and the game encouraged you to go murder a random woman for filing divorce, that doesn't make sense. I get why you'd come to that conclusion, but that doesn't feel right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're not murdering the person. You're murdering their awful sense of despair that's ripped out of their body.
Right, but it's much more powerful to confront somebody about the thing that they did wrong or the thing that happened to them, and your exorcist being your feelings are valid, and you need to help us fight back against the giant rage monster.
Fight
because
the alpha monster
Jimmy just got his fucking leg ripped off. So can you please help us? Yeah. I think it gives me a similar emotional response to the safety features that they talk about, the diversity stuff that they talk about in Monster Heart, where it's clearly done with clear intent and very powerful emotional meaning behind it, and I appreciate that. That being said, we must move on because we can talk about the mechanics now. Josh's favorite mechanics.
Yes. I mean, this game, I would say the mechanics are equal to the vibe. So, yeah, but yeah.
First and foremost, let's start off basic with the way that rolls work. CAIN works off a pretty basic D6 dice pool system.
So it's a dice pool system pretty similar to Blades.
Yeah. The game works with static DCs and technically three distinct roll modifiers that the GM/admin can impose upon the players to shift the way things are going to work. Those are the hard and technically impossible tags and the risky tag. The difference basically being is that any standard tag it requires a 4-up on any single die in the pool to be successful. And the more successes you get, the more effective that your success is, similar to Blades/Star Wars.
Well, for a regular roll, extra successes doesn't necessarily matter, but for talismans, it does.
Well, yes, but we'll get into talismans for a second. Everything works off of talismans. So as long as you're not doing like basic investigation stuff, like, can I hack the computer, right? Like 2 successes are not going to help you hack better. No. Although you could argue that you could get more, you know, you can ask more questions with those successes. But given that most things are done through tags, or not tags, clocks, the more successes means the more ticks, the more successful.
Talismans, which are clocks, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the dice pool system it's a little. The terminology I find a little confusing because it has like. So basically, the game's like you have normal rolls, then you have risky rolls, and you have hard rolls, and you would think, oh, risky. It's like easy, medium, hard. It's not.
It's not. Yeah.
Normal roll is like. There's basically no consequences. You're just rolling to kind of see what happens. Risky is there's a chance something bad can happen. So the admin will roll a risk die. This is basically how the game does its equivalent of partial successes, sort of. So if you roll a risky roll and then you succeed, but you rolled a 2 on the risk die, the admin gets to respond with something, bad. And then hard is the same as a risky roll. The difference is instead of a 4 up, your successes are only on 6s. So you are less likely to succeed, but it doesn't make a hard roll is not riskier inherently.
Yes, a hard roll does not automatically incur risk. They are often used in tandem, but they do not necessarily require that tandem usage.
Yeah, you can have a normal roll that is hard, but not risky. So like, I guess a normal roll that isn't hard is like, you go to hack the computer and it's got a really tight security system, so it's hard for you to get through, but there's no immediate problem if you don't do it. I guess would be kind of the example of that.
It's kind of like, so you can fail on a normal roll and have consequences incurred. The risk is when that consequence is on a sliding scale. The difference between, you're trying to
I thought
lie your way out of a speeding ticket to like getting arrested.
No, I thought straight rolls was there's literally no damage at all. Because it says
I don't believe so.
It says not all action rolls are risky. If there is no clear and present consequence or danger, there's no risk involved, and the roll is a straight roll without the risk die being rolled at all. A player might make straight rolls when making general tests of ability, knowledge, or skill, investigating, surveying, or exploring, persuading someone who has a receptive attitude, working on a project, taking action when the result is unclear but the outcome isn't necessarily dangerous. Right, so like a straight roll is like there is no consequence.
Well, the consequence is just, in the case of trying to persuade someone, they don't help you. Yeah, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, you fail, but there's no reaction.
There's
no
leg
reprisal.
If you're trying to jump a gap. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you could fail the objective, but nothing happens. Whereas a risky roll, something is going to happen for sure. If you fail. Fuck up.
Yes.
Yeah, and then there's impossible rolls, which is it's not a roll. There's impossible actions, I guess it technically calls it, which is to say you just can't fucking do it. The point I'm making is that the dice paradigm is a little confusing. It doesn't, because when I started reading it, I assumed it works like Blades. It does not work like Blades.
It doesn't, no. I think, so the thing with impossible that's worth mentioning is that a GM says a thing is impossible, that is impossible with your current capabilities. So for example, if you, as an exorcist, try to use your I don't know, your ardence blasphemy, right, to like blast through a wall, and the GM goes, sorry, that won't be possible. But if 2 exorcists team up and use both of their ardence abilities to blast a hole through the wall, that roll could therefore go from impossible to just hard.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a state,
it's a state informing you like there's a chance, but you need to do something else to make it work.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think that's important because I think someone sees impossible and just goes, nope, can't do it. Nothing can be done. And it's like, well, the game specifically says that the category system negates impossibilities by normal human standards.
Yeah.
So it's worth mentioning.
There is also fate rolls if you as the GM just want to kind of see what happens. You just roll a singular D6, and it's either a 1 is like the worst result, a 2 to 3 is a bad result, 4 to 5 is good, 6 is best.
Yes, I think that's very interesting that they have
a little bit
risk
of a
rolls.
luck roll thing.
Yeah, it's interesting that they have both faith rolls and what are essentially fortune rolls. This is one of the few times where
I think it makes sense because the risk roll is in specific response to something the player is doing, whereas the fate roll could be like you as the GM being like, I'm not sure, let me just see what the dice say kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Right. So I think I almost feel like I want to just call any roll with risk a fate roll and say there are player fate rolls and GM fate rolls.
I
say this because like looking back, I definitely made players roll things risky when it could have just been a fate roll. Right? Like literally the like, oh, is this character armed? Which is one of the examples for fate rolls. I was, roll persuasion, they rolled low, and I went, okay, that character's armed, and they pull a gun on you.
Yeah. I mean, that just sounds like just a slight misunderstanding of the system because you hadn't run it that much.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not going to say it's not true.
I think the word risk, I think the reason they use risk as a distinct thing is to point out that player, the thing you are doing can have immediate consequences, whereas a fate roll is just sort of like read in the bones. It doesn't necessarily have to have immediate consequences.
Fair enough.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you. Something that I want to bring up is that I like a lot about this game is that, the game is aware that that dice pools by nature can be kind of swingy, right? If the dice just said no, there is a distinct lack of modifier to alter those rolls for you, which is why the game gives you several means by which to stack those to stack those odds in your favor. Those being, there's 4 of them specifically. There is the setup action, the teamwork action, psychic bursts, and then finally divine agony. And I really like that they made a distinction between teamwork and setup because those are treated as 2 different things. Teamwork allows two players to pool their dice together, which potentially allows them to break the 3 dice limit on any particular roll. They could, in theory, hit 6 dice if one player is using their force and the other one's using their coordination or their psychic skill to, double team a sin. Mm-hmm. The idea being that if they succeed, or they're very likely to succeed, but if they fail, they both will inevitably be taking that consequence. Setup is a little bit different insofar as both players can incur consequence, but it's not a guarantee that they will. Rather, setup can be, I believe the point is that it's supposed to be used in tandem with things like teamwork to bring a roll down from impossible to hard to risky, hard to normal, or from risky to standard. It's really about shifting what you need to roll in the first place. It can also just incur a +1 die to anything up to, I believe, a maximum of 3. But it serves an equal but distinct difference in the teamwork. Psychic bursts they're just the ammo for your psychic abilities. You get 3 of them at standard, and then you have a number of sin points that you can use to do additional psychic abilities. At any point when you make a roll, you can just burn, I believe it's any number of psychic bursts, up to a maximum of 3 to just give yourself additional roll dice. The idea basically being is that
I thought it was only 1 at a time.
Is it? I'm going to be honest. I reread this book. For some reason, I'm struggling to bring back some specific memories.
I don't remember. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Basically, the idea is you can tap into your psychic powers to give yourself roll bumps.
Yes. The final thing you get is your Divine Agony. Essentially what this is whenever you roll a check and you get no successes on anything, you build a ammo, essentially, called a Pathos. And at any point, once per session on a player basis and once per scene on a team basis, there is a distinction. You burn any number of those Pathoses to perform a Divine Agony, which essentially just adds to a roll and is allowed to break the 3 die limit. So you could, this is really funny, you could do a teamwork for 6 die and then go, fuck it, I'm burning my Divine Agony for 9 dice on a move, which you could get some pretty cool, like, father-son Kamehameha stuff out of that if you're fighting a sin. That'd be really sick.
I will say...
It would literally just be the Todo Itadori just fucking jumping the shit out of Mahito.
The black the black flash kick. Yeah.
Yeah, just they're like, hey, put those hands up. Put those hands up. Jumping
yeah. Or Todo and Itadori fucking boogie woogieing on Inami.
Yeah, on Hanami. Yeah.
It's just clapping the shit out of her.
Yeah.
God, I love Todo so much. Such a good character. I will say, if I do to level a little bit of a criticism at this game, and this is, I think, this is one of those things I'm always in two minds about, because I have complained about this in the past in both tabletop and video games, but I do also like it sometimes because it does reinforce the vibe, basically. So this game kind of does the what I refer to as the Warframe naming convention, where things that could have like a pretty simple, straightforward name, they name it something like cool and edgy sounding, basically to just make it cooler and edgier. The Warframe devs are literally on record saying that internally, when they name something, once they've completed the like mechanic or the subsystem or the lore or whatever, they go, okay, now we have to Warframeify the name, which basically just means turning it into some sort of sci-fi gobbledygook nobody knows how to say in the case of Warframe.
Fantastic.
In the case of this game, calling the power Divine Agony and you gaining Pathos, it's to reinforce the vibe, but it does make it a little harder to remember the mechanics with those words because they don't immediately tell me anything with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't inform what the fuck you're actually trying to do with this ability.
Yeah, what the fuck it's actually doing mechanically. There is some stuff in this game where they do that. Like even the blasphemies, right? Blasphemies are effectively this game's mostly classless, but if the closest thing it has is like blasphemies are kind of your class, but the name blasphemies does not really tell you that. So like that's one little criticism of like how they do it. And in some parts of the game, they do explain the weird verbiage they use. So like with talismans, right? When I was first reading the game, I was not clear on what the fuck talismans were. And then at one point in the book, it was like, if you're familiar with clocks in other games, that's what talismans are. I was like, oh, okay, thank you for explaining. Now I know exactly how this works.
So do you know what you know what caught me about talismans?
What?
Is that they are, the talismans don't look like clocks. They are strips of paper that you mark down.
You strike. Yeah.
So I was really struggling to like visualize them, and eventually I just had to like, they're clocks, but they're different clocks. They're clocks, but they're different clocks. They're clocks, but they're different clocks.
They're clocks that fill in down. They fill down instead of around. Yes. They fill down instead of around. You basically could like just rip a piece of a talisman off every time you succeed on it, and when you're done ripping shit off, then you're done. All that works. I just brain just didn't want to do it. I struggled for I don't even know why. It didn't even make that sense that I would struggle. I think the word talisman makes you want to think it's some sort of like spell-based mechanic.
Yeah. it almost makes you want to think about it as a physical thing happening in the narrative, right? Like,
yes, yeah.
when you're fighting the Sin, you're looking at the execution talisman like it's got fucking life points in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, yeah. Which it kind of is.
It kind of is, yeah, but your characters don't know that, right? They're just fighting for their lives.
Yeah.
You know what? If I were to run this as a game, I would almost want to implement an execution talisman as a physical item that the characters can look at. You know, well, like,
kind of fun.
Imagine, if you will, they're fighting the Hound, and they're having a DBZ Broly moment where one of the characters is getting pieced up like Frieza did, and they're just like, "Are we close yet?" And it's like, "No."
I did have the thought when I was reading about the talismans. I was like, how would I set this up in Roll20 to make it so I could actually like strike the paper through? Because I feel like that is the cooler vibe, you know?
Yes.
And the aesthetic is very important for this game. So
there is unfortunately no API for CAIN on Roll20.
I know. There's no sheet or anything. I know.
No.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's a fucking bleeding shame. It's just such a good, like, I want this game to get so much more hype.
Hopefully there will be eventually, because Lancer's on there, so.
It is, yeah. So I'm confident.
Somebody will do it. I'm talking with someone who's adjusting the Fabula Ultima sheet for us, by the way.
Oh, really? Hell yeah. What are they doing?
Adding an NPC tab to make my life a little easier, and I will potentially ask them to nudge a couple of other things on the main sheet. Yeah.
Very cool.
But anyway, back to it. Yes, I distracted slightly, I know, but yeah, I just wanted to point out that there is a little bit of that. There's a little bit of that naming frustration for me personally.
No, you're valid. So if I did have one frustration with this game, is that and we talked about it at the beginning, you are absolutely sacrificing legibility for vibes. Because the game talks about several times, like, just looking at the rulebook, the game brings up your agendas, but it does not list the agendas until 12 pages later.
Yeah.
Same thing with the blasphemies. The actual blasphemies, they talk about the blasphemies on page 26. They don't actually list them until page... I'm still scrolling.
Yeah.
Would you believe that I'm still scrolling?
I would.
54.
Okay.
I did that to prove a point, clearly.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah. There is some legibility problems, especially if you're trying to use it as a reference book like I was trying to do while running the game.
Yes.
I went... wait, hold on. Like several times.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll give you that for fair. The design is not perfect. It's definitely not beating Fabula's immaculate layout. I think it's beating Fabula in terms of vibes, but in terms of actual legibility, it's not holding a candle. I love this game. I might like this game more than Fabula, but I gotta call a spade a spade.
No, yeah, I mean sometimes, but I think it was also vibes over legibility was like a distinct choice, like a decision was made, you know.
Much like his art style, everything seems to be done with intent. So yeah. Let's see. Oh, we actually talked about clocks, so we can jump right down to the category system, baby.
I mean, well, we sort of talked about the talismans. I feel like we have to spend a little more on them.
Fair enough.
Well, just so the thing about the talismans in this game, so the game calls them talismans, but if you played any other games with clocks, they are a clock system, right? The clock starts at 0, you fill up the clock, it completes some kind of objective, or it starts full and you have to run it down. Any kind of use that you'd have for clocks. The main thing with this game is that the talismans are really the main meat and potatoes of how you track if the players are doing like if the players are succeeding or not. Like so much so that when the players finally engage the sin doesn't have a health bar, they have a talisman, and the talisman is the health bar. So this game relies on the clocks a lot. Like it is the main mechanic, and you're basically using it all the goddamn time. So
like literally all the time. The players don't have health bars either. They also have execution talismans, just like the sin does. That's worth mentioning. Yeah, everything in this game.
Wait, I thought the players had like a stress counter and then injuries. I thought was how they.
Their stress counter is a clock.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hold on. What page is it?
I may have missed that.
Taking
I mean, I believe you. I just.
I'm trying to remember for my. Yeah. So the players have on their page 1. They have. Yeah. It's just called the execution talisman for them as well.
Oh, it is. Oh, you're right. Yeah, okay. And then injuries. And actually, how does it work again? They accrue stress, and then if they tick over, it becomes an injury, right?
Yes. So players accrue stress. But there is also
non-lethal stress.
Yes. So if players accrue stress, that stress would push them over into, maxing out. Typically, they start at 6. That will accrue an injury. If something deals non-lethal stress, what that essentially means is, in the game, if you get pushed, no, you can be pushed over and it will still cause an injury, but it can't kill you. If something were to drive you your entire stress bar, to deal enough damage to bring you from nothing to full stress, you just die, unless you take a step like a sin overflow or what have you to not do that. Non-lethal can push you to stress, but no matter how much injuries you have, it can't kill you.
Okay.
Yeah. Hooks are something that what's worth bringing up on the clocks.
The hooks thing is a little confusing.
Yes. So hooks are basically clocks that incur conditions or injuries and effectively bypass the execution talisman. So for example, if you get the ogre has a hook for rotting, that rot, once that fills out, kills you. So it's effectively a delayed condition or a delayed injury. Right. It's something that you keep note of, and it can affect you, and it likely will affect you in due time, but it gives you time to either circumvent it or cure it or overcome it, wherever it might be.
Right.
It's one of the, I can be extra mean because I'm giving you clear time to fix it.
Right. I'm pointing out I'm giving a warning, and it can, yeah. And then afflictions are just like status conditions, basically.
Yes. So one of rotting is also technically, I believe it doesn't kill you. It gives you an affliction, which can kill you, I believe.
Which can kill you or something. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Sure, but
fun fact about the centipede. One of its domains basically says that if at any point the exorcists come in contact with the zombies, even if no one took any stress, it can just give you the hook bitten.
Oh.
And once that ticks up, you become a zombie and die.
Oh.
And you can still not die doing Sin Overflow. I'm not entirely sure how those interact, because Sin Overflow is the ultimate I just don't die button.
Right.
But it's worth looking into because I really like the centipede. Is there anything else worth bringing up for clocks?
No, I think, yeah. I just wanted to point out that this game heavily leans into them.
It is arguably the main mechanic of the game.
Yeah, that I would say clocks and the talismans and the category and the risk die.
Yeah,
categories, talisman, risk die are sort of the main mechanics, I would say.
That's valid. Now we can talk about the fucking sick category system. Now,
yeah,
everything in CAIN is ranked on this category system. The rankings go from 0 to 7, and 7 plus if you're
DBZ
retribution
power level.
Yes. And it is essentially just a graphic chart that, again, shows the severity of any sin situation. Exorcists are also measured on this scale.
Yeah, everything is measured on it. It's from 0 to 7. Yeah,
7. From category 0 to Category 1 at Imp, Category 2 Geist, Category 3 Revenant, Category 4 Wraith, Category 5 Demon, Category 6 God, and the edgiest one at Category 7 at Demon God.
Demon God.
I feel like we could have just named it anything else, but okay.
Nope. Demon God. Yes. And normal humans are 0.
Normal humans are 0. Your Exorcist, no matter what category they are, in terms of their physical abilities, are always Category 0. Their abilities automatically get upgraded when you throw a Psyburst at it to whatever your category of Exorcist is.
Or you do the sin bursty thingy or whatever, right?
The sin overflow, yeah.
No, the burst.
No, yeah, sorry, yes. That's what I said, psychic burst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's the blast, but there's also the burst thing. Those are different, aren't they? There's the blast.
Blast is a blasphemy, but I may have said Psy Blast. I meant to say Psy Burst.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, if you use a psychic burst, that automatically upgrades whatever your physical ability is at that moment to whatever your category is. Which is literally cursed energy, because technically no one in Jujutsu Kaisen is above human level. They just throw cursed energy at a thing to make them punch. It's key. It's just key. Yes. The actual categories that the chart describes is the people affected by a certain thing, the size of the thing in question, the general area, like volumetric area that a thing that a specific ability can affect, the distance that its radius, like its general, general anything, right? It can be its force of will, the destructive blast of its explosion, the distance of a blast that it can throw, anything like that is measured by the distance thing, and it has range bands, which is kind of weird because the range bands do come up.
I was slightly
sparingly
unclear on that one too.
Yeah. It almost feels like they just shorthanded it to so that they didn't say anything from category 3 below. They just said anything within, short to long range. But it does create some ludonarrative discobiscus when you're trying to read this thing. After that, you have speed, like just how fast a thing is. At category 0, it's the speed of an average human. At category 7, it's the speed of a fighter jet, which I think, honestly, speed is the most anime part of this list. Because when you think about a giant, right, like the gun devil from Chainsaw Man, moving as fast as a jet fighter, that's really fucking anime.
I mean, yes, for sure.
And the final thing that they measure is magnitude.
Yeah, I was gonna say magnitude, also pretty anime.
Yeah, the magnitude just denotes the severity of a situation. A category 0, which would just be like a normal, like a non-sin paranormal activity thing. It's considered small magnitude, like not really worth sending exorcists after. If an exorcist is in the area, they might check it out. Noticeable is something that, or once something becomes noticeable, that's when CAIN has to get involved. And if something gets cataclysmic, well, all that hush money. All that hush money.
Yep.
Let's see, is there anything else I want to say before we get into character creation? I don't think so.
Yeah, the important note also for categories, category also dictates, because there isn't a DC of this game, category kind of acts as your like passive DC, where if something is 3 categories above you, you just kind of can't do shit to it.
Yes, that thing is considered impossible by nature.
And if something's 3 categories below you, you can dunk the goddamn life out of it.
Yes, if it's 3 categories below,
clown
you just don't roll
on it. Yeah, just clown on it. So that's it is your shonen, your shonen power scaling, but it is also, mechanically speaking, kind of the way you can have a DC of sorts without literally having a DC for rolls.
Right.
It also gets used for a bunch of things like powers and how much, how effective they are and shit. Like, it does come up in a bunch of ways for your character.
Yes, there are some of the charts
kind of acts like a proficiency modifier too.
It does, yeah. I did actually have to look up some of the, like, what they were asking about, like the difference between people and area.
Yeah.
Because, you know, one says a people, a few, and then two is a few people. For a number of people category, one is a few, and then area says a few people. So like, they are sort of interchangeable, but they do kind of depend. One is more of the actual amount of people, and one is just the physical space.
Yeah, one is the quantity, and one is the space it covers.
Yeah.
A few people area, a few people meaning like if you're throwing an AoE spell, it could hit like 5 people at once.
Yes.
Whereas if you're doing a single target punch attack, a few people, a few people in the people category is like how much strength you have with that punch.
Yes, exactly.
They make sense. You got to think about them a little bit, but they make sense.
You do, yeah. Like I said, I looked them up. I got my answers, but yeah, I definitely had to look it up. With that out of the way, we can begin the talk about character creation an hour and 40 minutes in. Don't worry, this is pretty quick. Honestly, CAIN's character creation has to be the quickest and most streamlined I have ever seen in a tabletop game. Like flat out.
I don't know if I could say ever. I'd have to think about that, but it's definitely quick.
In any that I've played, to be fair.
Fair enough.
Or any I've read. The only mechanical choices that you have to make when creating your exorcist is their stats, their agenda, and their blasphemy.
Yeah.
I did this for a group
Which
of
is good because, you know, if you're going to be dying a lot.
Yes. And it makes it really good for one-shots.
Yeah, true.
I ran this game for 3 first-time tabletop players. And their character, the creation of their characters took 15 minutes. Like each, 15 minutes each. So probably maybe about 30 minutes total because one person came late. It was that quick. It was just, you know, think about a character that fits an archetype that you like. Okay. Which one of these agendas fits? Okay. What cool power do you want them to have? Okay. You just snap, done.
Yeah.
The stats themselves, this is actually can be a little tricky based on how it's worded. It's worded a little weird. Assigning stats is simple. It's like I said, there are 10 available stats. Those stats being force, conditioning, coordination, covert, interfacing, surveillance, investigation, authority, negotiation, and connection. And technically a final 11th one with your psyche. That's just your like weave magical bullshit button in a skill form. Basically, if you have if you want to do a psychic thing that doesn't involve a blasphemy, you roll your psyche. For any of these skills, except for psyche, you take 2 of them, you have 2 dots in those skills. That can eventually become a maximum of 3 dots. And then you take 3 skills and choose to have 0 dots in those. Everything else is considered to be 1 dot. If you have to make a roll with something that has 0 dots, you basically just roll disadvantage. You roll 2, take the lower number. Everything else is straight. Once you've assigned your stats, you choose your agenda. Agendas are, like we said, essentially your background, the way that the agenda informs the narrative of your character's their general personality and modus operandi. It provides 2 specific traits that are referred to in the game as items that the player can tap while they roleplay to gain experience. One item supports their agenda, the other one contradicts it and actually gives you more experience for tapping it, giving players several options to either enforce or refute their own exorcist beliefs in a situation. The agendas are cool though, because they come with distinct bespoke abilities that allow them to do some fun, like narrative altering stuff.
Agendas give you some like sort of passive bonuses you can tick on if you do the right stuff. Uh-oh. I lost him? Isaiah?
Oh, I'm here. Sorry.
You hit the mute button. Everything went dark.
I did. I'm sorry. Something came up. Yes. There's typically 5 of them. They have some really fun stuff. Actually, a personal favorite of mine is the Firebug agenda's Always Away ability. It just gives them if a way out of a situation doesn't exist, it does now. It just provides the player with a guarantee that there is a way in or out of any given situation.
I forget.
And
can you like use these anytime, or do you have to?
Yes.
You can, right?
Some of them do require bursts, depending, but for the most part, you can use them at any time. The caveat to that being, right, is that just because you make a thing possible, again, like the find a way ability, that specifically says if let me check it. Where did you go? You son of a bitch. This is kind of what we were talking about when it's a little hard to find things sometimes.
Yes.
Come on, don't do this to me now. What do we do? There we go. Always away. There we go. If there isn't an entrance or an exit into a place, you can find one. You always get through, but the admin picks one. It's dangerous, risky, it'll only fit one person, or you'll have to leave something or someone behind. So effectively, it's it's kind of what we talked about last episode with the Mother May I, right? You have to have that narrative conversation with the GM.
Well, but
that's what allows you to pull it off whenever you want. Both Sereth and my mom actually took this one and used it constantly. It's very effective.
The fuck out of here one?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think it's just the first one that sticks out to you and you go, oh, that's really cool.
Yes.
There are 17 of these things total. 17 agenda, that's a lot. And something that I think is really cool is that some of them, one of them affects a dead character. When a character dies, you can change their agenda to this one, and it allows them to maintain a level of narrative relevance post-mortem. Another one, which is also fun, is Cursed Object, or I guess there's two that you can affect when you're dead. That just lets you possess an item. You just become literally like a cursed item from JJK that just kind of talks to people. You're a funny little magic item, which is cool.
Just a funny little guy.
Yeah, you're just a goofy little guy. There's one that you can take if you're the last survivor of a party. It's just called Survivor. It gives you +1 maximum stress, and there's a 1d6 chance of you ignoring insta-death rolls.
Which, sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. They're fun little additions like that. And if you look, each of the special ones are toe tags, which is really funny. Yeah. The way they're designed, it's great.
I did notice that, yeah.
Once you pick your blasphemy and your agenda and your agenda ability, then you can pick your blasphemy. There is technically 13, but listed 12 of them. The 13th being the blasphemy that everyone gets. It's just the blow shit up with your brain ability.
It's just the psychic shoot laser ability, your basic attack.
Yeah, you actually
your cantrip, if you will.
Yeah, the game does say that you can flavor it any way you want.
However
my little brother flavored
yeah.
it to shoot Getsuga Tenchos.
Of course he did.
And I was like, hell yeah, dude.
Of course he did. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I had a similar thought.
No, look, that it's either that or it's the Akira or it's the Professor Xavier 2 fingers on forehead Yeah.
Yep.
They're the only two I can think of. You could throw Key Blast if you're a nerd, but really you gotta.
It can also be your Black Flash.
It could actually 100% be a Black Flash. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, because it does specify it can be either melee or range, which is fun.
Yes.
Like Josh was saying, the blasphemies kind of inform your character's class. This is a classless system, but if you were gonna roundabout something, it would be the blasphemies. And I say that because each blasphemy comes with a passive ability, as typically 5 active ones. Each player starts with their passive and 2 guaranteed actives, and as you level up, you can take other blasphemies, effectively multi-classing. Although it's worth mentioning, it does reduce the amount of sin overflows you can go into.
Yes, there is a bit of an incentive to not multi-class, as it were.
Yes, you can, and you can do it as much as you want, but you probably should. You do not get penalized for taking more skills in your blasphemy of start.
it also kind of reinforces that theme pretty well too, because the idea is you're taking more blasphemies, you're essentially like letting more grace in and empowering your sin seed, because your character can just explode and turn into a sin. So yeah,
you can. Yeah, that is what the sin overflow is. We talk about that in a little bit.
There's a special category of sin that is specifically exorcist who done fucked up and turned into a sin.
The Imago, I love them. To activate any particular blasphemy, as we said, you have to burn your psychic bursts, and if you run out of those, you use your sin points. The only real difference is that psi bursts are rechargeable, essentially. There's a lot of things that give you them back. Taking rests, for example, will give you back some psi bursts.
I was slightly confused. I don't know if I missed this. Resting is it like you just like take a pause in the middle of a mission for 5 minutes, or is it implying that the mission could last over a couple of days and like you go to bed for that day? Like, I feel like it wasn't clear on like a time period of resting or anything like that. I don't feel like it described resting, but I may have missed it.
They talk about it later on in the little paragraph about sin events. Typically when a sin event kicks off, you only have a number of hours to solve it before it levels up into a worse sin event. So there's no bespoke period of time for how long a rest is, but it typically isn't. It probably isn't an hour, to be honest. It's probably like, so it's like 15 minutes.
A 15-minute, yes, it's a 15-minute sandwich break.
Yeah. They talk about in the executions how long they take. So like time to execution 3 hours, time to execution 9 hours. That's pretty long for one. 48 hours is, I think, that might be the longest actually with Scather Hound.
Okay, so it's not, there is no set time. That's why they didn't. All right. I see.
No, but they are typically not.
It's brief.
Yeah.
It's not going to bed.
No. If you have to fight for 2 days straight, you are fighting for 2 days straight.
Yeah.
The Calamity the Fourth was they don't tell you what, the category is redacted. I don't like that. It took 2 days, 6 hours, and 35 minutes. Required previously unprecedented deployment of broad spectrum memory modification. 10 exorcist teams. 10 teams.
10
including
teams,
the virtues.
Which one is this?
That's Centipede number 2, Calamity the Fourth.
Oh, wow. They straight up had a bad time.
Yeah, if you drop in the virtues in, they had a very bad time.
It's the Shibuya incident.
Oh my god, it fucking is the Shibuya incident.
It's totally what it is.
Jesus Christ, I'm so dead.
That's absolutely what that reference. That has to be what that's referencing.
It has to be, yeah. Can you again, because we've learned a little bit about the virtues before episode, can you imagine how fucked they have to be like, are we doing it? Are we hitting the big red button? And it's just the button that has R on it. And they go, fuck it. Deploy, what is it? Retribution?
I thought it was fortitude.
Fortitude, yeah. Just deploy fortitude.
Just planet drops like a space marine.
They have that. So one of the things, they have Seraph, which is an orbital defense platform.
Yeah. Just drops from space.
So they did absolutely Helldiver fortitude into the
into the Shibuya incident to fuck shit up. Yeah.
Can you imagine? The Centipede is like this massive calamity thing, and they're like all the fucking exorcists are getting mauled to death by zombies, and one handler's like locked on target, firing for effect. And they look up as this meteorite is raining down, and it's just fortitude in the Superman pose. It's just raining from the heavens like a fireball.
I feel like my desire, if I were to put that character in my game, I would make fortitude like a fucking goober. Like they would just be an absolute clown of a human being. Like the urge to just make them a dork.
No, I can see that. It's the Jujutsu Kaisen thing, right? It's Itadori, like actually one of the hardest ass kickers in the show, but is just kind of a goober. Fortitude to me is the Hulk. like pretty even tempered most of the time, but the second violence is on the table, it's the only thing on the table.
Incredible violence. Yeah.
They all kind of seem like goobers, I'm not gonna lie. Like Fortitude, you can't be that angry all the time. You just don't function. Like you couldn't do anything with that person. And then Faith is just
can't be that fuck up, man.
Like a weird 150-year-old old lady in the body of a 22-year-old who really likes arcades. Like I think who said it? Kishibe said it best in Devilman in Chainsaw Man. To be an effective demon hunter, you need to be a little crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I love that. Yeah, so fun fact about the centipedes. Centipedes are such a nightmare to deal with that more often than not, higher ranked exorcists dump those missions on lower ranked exorcists. Because they just don't want to do it. They literally are like, nope, I don't give a fuck. Let the new guy handle it. I don't care if they die. I'm just not doing it. I'm just not doing it.
Let them die.
Like, hey man, no, we really need you. I don't think you understand. I don't give a fuck. I don't wanna.
I'm not doing it. Since we're on the subject of blasphemies, though, do you have a favorite?
Ooh. They're so good. I kind of love them all.
I have a favorite.
I think my favorite is, I'm kind of basic. It's either Ardence or Tension.
Okay. My favorite's Bind.
Bind is cool. Look, I love being a summoner, and I like that there's literally a faction of rogue exorcists called the Binders. That's so sick.
I just want to live out my Megami life and summon my wolf Shikigami and, you know, send Fido out to fuck people up.
I love, my favorite thing is in JJK Abridged, he refuses to call his summons by their names. So he just calls the fucking Hellhounds big boys. He's like, I summon you big boys. And it's just the fucking wolves.
Nice.
And Isidori wants to pet them and they keep trying to bite his hand off.
Although I will say, side note, another good blasphemy is the Vector, which is just the yeet machine.
Yes.
Just throw thing real hard.
Right. You know what? I was going to do it later, but we can do a pretty quick down and dirty explanation as to what the blasphemies are. So the first one is Tension. It's about creating force fields, and it's the cool anime versions of force fields where you can turn the force field into a box, or you can hyper condense the force field down into a blade that can cut anything. Ardence is just blow shit the fuck up. It's just anytime you see like a Kamehameha wave, that's Ardence. But it also is, well, I can just change like weather. I like Ardence a lot because you get this thing called psychic instability that allows you to do extra damage for tapping ticks on a hook. And every time you burn out that thing, you gain an injury. And if that injury would kill you, you explode like a nuke and it says you kill everything around you up to your category. Specifically, nothing can survive. Nothing can survive. And I just love the idea of that. I just like the risk it for a biscuit.
It's unfortunate.
Mwah. Chef's kiss. After Ardence, you have Flux. This one's pretty standard. It's just you fuck with time. You're just a time wizard doing all the fun time wizard shit. You can rewind time on wounds to heal. You can slow down time to avoid injury, all that fun jazz. Vector is about imbuing items with kinetic energy, and that can be a la Gambit by making shit explode, or you can touch a pencil and have it fly at somebody at Mach 12 like a bullet.
Or a building
Gate,
if you're strong enough.
Yeah, or a building if you're strong enough. Gate is the opposite of Flux, in which you sort of treat space like a sculptor would clay, and you can literally do some JoJo shit like the hand, like erasing space in between two items to force them together. It's also teleporting and transpositioning. It's about, you know, flash fires and all that fun stuff. Smother is another JoJo stand ability where you just get to rip fundamental like parts of reality off of things like friction, sound, or light. You just steal concepts of the world around you.
The description for Smother says, suppress the innate properties of the universe, lie to God.
Lie to God. Yeah, I love that. That one's good. Whisper is really interesting because you basically have a little sin on your shoulder that talks to you and it can see the future and it's an asshole.
Yeah.
It's the gaze into the abyss ability. Like it's really not useful in combat, but it's got some really fun narrative effects, and it's one of the abilities that help you solve investigations.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a lot of reason to have a not necessarily combat blasphemy. So,
yes. The next one is edit. It's pretty much what you get on the tin. It's shapeshifting of all kinds, and it can be anything from like shapeshifting yourself to shapeshifting a car into a better car. Turning walls into doors. You just sort of have the edit button to reality for physical objects, and you use it with reckless abandon. Bind is what it describes. You bind weak sins to your will, and you can use them as weapons or summons to fight.
It's the summoner one.
Yeah. Jaunt, I
also like the lore behind Bind, that it's like a heretical method of fighting and that they don't approve of you using it.
Yeah. And
also you miss Palace.
Oh, right. Yeah. So Palace is in a weird spot on the table of contents for the sins. It's the second to last one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the order is a little fucked up. I actually don't Jaunt is about astral projecting. Right. You can, astral project out of your body to view people's dreams or stuff going on outside of your specific purview. It's scrying. It's the D&D scrying, and it's got a lot of really cool stuff. Palace is really sick because you, as an exorcist, get to create your own sin palace.
Yeah.
And it's got rooms. It's like the fucking Magnificent Mansion from D&D. You can create special rooms in your personal mind palace that have like a smithy where you can create items that you can pull out of your palace to use, an archive of people's intellect from the collective unconscious so you could learn about anything. You can have a little servant butler named called a tulpa, who specifically cannot fight but offers you information and can help you with checks. There's a lot of fun stuff there. I've heard people say it's the least useful one, but the most fun to use narratively.
I could see that.
And then finally, sympathy, which does not at all do what it says on the tin. Sympathy allows you to communicate with objects. You can ask objects questions. You can make requests of them. You can do the cool...
the Gyakta exorcist.
Yeah. One of the things is literally asking like doors to open. Anime. Yeah, I still think it's Gachiakuta, but I don't know.
Gyakta. I don't know. I watched the first episode.
I gotta start watching. I wanted to read.
There's only 2 episodes out, so no. But first episode, I was like, yeah, we'll see.
Okay, all right. My favorite ability in Sympathy is psychometry, where you can read the history of a thing. Like you watch it like a video.
You could do the thing the fucking Savvy Head does in Apocalypse World.
Yes, I love that ability so much. There's an anime where that happens. I don't remember what it is. I mean, Harry Potter does it several times.
Yes,
that's not an anime, but it is a thing where it happens. That was actually, honestly, psychometry was the blasphemy ability that helped my first party, which was my family, discover a lot of information.
I can see that.
It almost immediately brought them like just ridiculously close to finding out the host or information about the host. It's super useful. Let's see.
That's the last one.
That is the last one. Oh, I'm bleeding. Why am I bleeding?
I don't know.
Bleeding from my foot. What happened? Not pertinent information, but I don't know. Hopefully I have a napkin. Where was I in my notes? I just completely lost my train of thought.
I don't know.
I mean, we've kind of already talked about it. Yeah, to activate the blasphemies, you have to spend your Psybursts. If you run out of Psybursts, you have to start spending Sin points. Sin points technically recharge, but like not exactly. You lose all of your sin points when you undergo sin overflow. Sin overflow is essentially a near death state, similar to going unconscious in D&D. Effectively, what happens is your character loses control of their psychic abilities and at that point is under threat to turn into a sin themselves. When this happens, you can choose to either resist it or give into it. If you resist it, you have to make what is essentially like a defy danger roll. Not defy danger, death saving throw. And you roll against a DC equal to, I believe it's 6, plus the number of sin overflows you've gone through in the past. That number does not reduce when you finish missions. And eventually the idea being is you're going to fail at some point, and you will become an imago. And when you do become an imago, you can the last thing you can choose to do is flee or fight. Fight basically being you turn into a superpowered sin monster that will kick the other sin's ass, hopefully. And then you will flee, in which case your fellow exorcist will have to make you the next hunt. Or you just flee the scene and become the next hunt. I kind of like that. I like that that's the last decision you make. Does your exorcist go out afraid or resolute in helping your homies?
Yeah, it's like the last stand option in Fabula.
Yeah.
I think a lot of games have been taking that tact of giving you some kind of mechanic to be like, yeah, you're going down, but you're going down with swag, or you choose when you go down.
Yeah, for sure. I've
been seeing that a lot more often lately.
It seems like it for sure, yeah. I appreciate that, I'm gonna be honest. It always feels so, because like, going down in D&D always feels so shitty. It's like, okay, I'm unconscious, I'm helpless. Okay, someone coup de grace me, I don't even get like a last word. I just get done in.
Yeah, it's always, I mean, I don't know. It's... I don't want to say I want it all the time, but it definitely works in specific kinds of games.
No, right. I don't want it all the time. If I'm playing Wrath and Glory and I'm playing a guardsman and I get God, I'm just going to get God. That's fine. But D&D's whole thing is the heroic fantasy. It's not kind of heroic to get fucking your head bashed in with a rock.
They say it's not, but, that's a whole other...
Yeah, I mean,
they kind of embrace it now. I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, no, it's not clear.
Direction's unclear.
Yeah, I mean, that's about it for Blasphemies. The last thing on the player's side is your kit and script. We've talked about this a little bit. Equipment in CAIN in general. Oh no, hold on. This is the only iteration of the word CAIN in my notes that isn't in all caps. I have to fix that. Fixed. Okay. Equipment in CAIN works very similarly to Blades in the Dark in that there are no bespoke rules or stats for any of the gear, but use evocative descriptions to shift the narrative.
Well, there's sort of stats for some weapons and blades, but yeah.
Some of them, like specialty stuff, project stuff has that.
Well, no, regular weapons do have certain mechanical things. It's just not necessarily based 100% on the weapon itself. But yeah, I will say I'm slightly disappointed with this part of the game.
I agree. This is my biggest complaint. As someone who loves equipment systems, this is my biggest complaint.
Something, I don't know what exactly, but yeah, I kind of wanted something. Like, on one hand, it's cool because it means I can do the anime thing where my character fights with a really weird weapon, right? Like, my character fights with a fucking,
with clacker balls.
Yeah, clacker balls. Yeah, like, which is good, but yeah, I don't know. I wanted a little something like, I don't know, maybe like a category system for weapons or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. And basically what Josh is talking about is there is a weapons list in this game that is just an image.
For the vibes.
It's just an illustration of weapons on a wall.
Yep.
And I get why they did that, because the game does specifically describe the fact that mundane weapons, like guns,
are just weapons,
are effectively useless against sins unless you use your psychic prowess to bolster them in some way.
You can upgrade the weapons, though.
You can, yes. You can spend like part of your script and downtime to like make a weapon innately magical. Again, like the curse tools in JJK.
Yes, yeah, curse tools.
Do you remember how cool fucking Yuji's knife was? That like dagger thing that he had that broke immediately.
I don't even remember that.
When they fight their first special grade, Gojo, he's like, because you don't actually have cursed techniques. You just do some cursed punches.
Oh yes, with the
then,
the poof, the knife with the poof on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and remember what that thing had a name? It was called Slaughter Demon.
Was it? I didn't remember that.
Yeah, because Maki's like, "Where's my fucking knife?" And he's like, "What?" And he's like, "Where the fuck?" She's like, "Where's Slaughter Demon?" And he goes, "What the fuck is that?" And she's like, "The knife, the knife that Gojo let you borrow. Where is it?" And he has to go.
Yes.
Oh, fucking broke.
I still think the funniest thing in all of Jujutsu Kaisen for me is just the fact that the main character is so bad at the cool magical powers that his only power is to throw hands.
Yeah. I have this one trick and I do it really well.
Like, you suck at everything, so just fuck it, we ball, dude. Just punch shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so funny to me.
They ask him and they're like, "So what do you do?" And he's like, "Hands."
Yeah.
He's like, "What's your ability?" "Punches, kicks." And they're like, "Is that it?" And then that's when Megumi has to go, No, wait, pause. Don't say that, because if we fought him all one-on-one, all using our powers, he'd probably kick the dog shit out of us. Please don't don't start this. Don't start this. I'm begging you.
I will say I like the occult and medical items.
Yes, those are cool. Those are essentially consumables. I don't remember what exactly they are, but they're like straw dolls and shit.
I do also love the red herb and green herb in there.
Yes, just the very clear red and green herbs.
Yeah. I was like, all right, that's a choice.
Yeah. Those are fun.
But yes, other than that, there's not really anything to say about equipment.
No, not at all. I love the image that goes with the equipment, where it's like the 3 female exorcists, and one of them is just the like tired nun smoking a cigarette with the heart eye patch and the cat ears on their fucking habit. And the other one is just a grown-ass woman in a fucking like high school girl uniform with a massive scar across her face and a glicky.
The nun chick just made me think of the nun with the golden gun in Black Lagoon.
Oh God, what the fuck is her name?
I don't remember.
I love that character.
But she was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, there's the one nun that's Revi's friend with the long barrel Glock, and then there's the head nun who has the golden Desert Eagle.
Yes. Sick Deagle. Sister Yolanda.
Yolanda, there she is. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and her eye patch, her sick eye patch.
Her sick eye patch. Yep. Fuck yeah, dude. Besides the consumables, which are called occult items, and they like again. One is like straight up red herb, green herb, adrenaline pills, straw dolls, the seed of the Emir tree. I believe they're just talking about the Yggdrasil.
Probably.
The Clyfoth is fun, and they all do stuff like crush to regain 3 Cyburst, heal stress, reduce or is it? Oh, like heal a crazy amount and then reduce your maximum stress for the mission. Can be used while under duress. Oh, interesting. The black blood medicine allows you to bring someone back to life. That's fun.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. Like, oh yeah, you get insta-killed. Except JK, you're fine.
Yeah.
Oh, that's...
What?
The black body, condensed sin seed of a large sin, can be broken to lower sin by 3d3. But you're just using someone's grace. So to describe, I don't think we've actually talked about this. Grace manifests as a sin seed. A sin seed is essentially either a weird tumor in the shape of a tiny angel or devil that manifests in your brain or heart. And there is some reason why they have different manifestation points. The game does not specifically describe to you why that is, but suggests that you come up with a reason on your own.
Yeah, there's quite a few things in the game where it's like, this is how it works. You can decide on the details yourself.
Yeah. Usually that gets on my nerves, but I do like the way it does it in this game. I just think it's very effective.
Well, because it gives you enough to bounce off of. It's not just like, it doesn't leave you totally hanging. It's like, here's the basic premise and then go from there.
Right. Oh, something I want to bring up with Sin Overflow. I think with the thing that I should not be overlooked is that while Sin Overflow is not good, right, because that brings your character permanently closer to becoming an imago and or dying, it actually isn't necessarily a bad thing to get them, because each Sin Overflow gives you something called a manifestation, which is essentially like a cool psychic mutation, and they are always good. They're always boons. None of them do anything bad.
They do make you look like an awful monster.
They do make you look like an awful monster. You get to choose what they look like, though, which is kind of neat. For example, if you have, when you go through Sin Overflow, you roll 2d6, and that informs where the mutation is and what it does. So let's say you rolled a 2 and a 5. So that 2 would indicate that your manifestation point is your jaw, and the 5 would tell you that the actual manifestation is, once per mission, you can give a short one-word command to a human who would then immediately attempts to follow it to the best of their ability. They will not obey obviously harmful commands. So you just get a once-a-mission ability, which is cool. One of them, for arms or hands, you can like spawn weapons or like turn your arm into a sword, a la like Kimimaru from Naruto. Cool shit. I've actually made a character for this, and in my head, they have the eye one that's, when was it again? You're right. Yeah, it's they had the eye one where you can paralyze a human by looking at them. They had the jaw one that let them, I believe it was the command one, and it showed up as like shark teeth. And then had an arm one that let them like turn their arm into like a cool like psychic laser sword. Obviously, I'd have to roll for these things in actual gameplay, but it's fun to like theory craft.
Yeah.
The joke was the character's name was Sunday because she kick the shit out of you and end your week like a Sunday. She's an angry Irish girl. Wow. Oh, it's such a bad pun, but I loved it so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna have art commissioned of that character because Moon wants to run a one shot, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't get art commissioned enough. I want to do that for me.
Okay.
Back to the script and kit. Script is a currency that you get for completing missions. You get, if I remember correctly, 5 per every successful execution, 3 for a sparing, and either 0 or just 1 for a failed mission. As like a pity reward. You can use script in between missions to buy things like expansions to your house, as we were talking about, and most of them don't do anything. Well, that's not true. Not most of them, but several of them don't do anything. So, for example, you can spend script on comfortable shoes. That does nothing. It just says shoes size to fit, production based on availability. You're like, okay, well that doesn't. All right, I guess. Or, issue uniform does nothing. It's just your standard issue CAIN uniform. But if you get something like a suit, it also does nothing. I thought it did something. I forgot. No, it does not. Actually, yeah, I don't think any of the formal wear does anything.
I don't believe so, no.
But you get stuff like comfort in career. So living quarters expansion, you get a kitchenette or a window, which is nice. And it's gain the benefits of a rest once without passing. Oh, it is an hour during a mission. That's cool. It actually gives you real stuff. Private room gives you +1 stress or maximum stress. Visitation rights, which allows you to see your family, gives you +1 injury. Oh, that's cool. The relaxed grooming guidelines gives you a +2 sin overflow cap. That's nice. Improved meal plan gives you additional kit points. Sanctioned indulgences, which I believe are just cigarettes, lets you roll an extra die when resting. Leave of absence, you're 1 week off a year to motherfucking Fiji, baby, gives you a bunch of good shit. And then finally, your pieces of silver, which it lets your character successfully retire from the company in a combat role. You still have to take up some sort of administrative one. That does, however, take 44 script, which means that your character would have to, assuming they spent nothing on anything else, survive 9 hunts.
Yeah.
That's not likely.
No.
No. Not at all.
But not impossible.
No, yeah, look, just stay in the back. Just whatever you do, get out of any centipede missions, stay in the back, keep your head down, and yeah, just take gate and teleport out when everything goes bad. Just fuck off. You do get some fun stuff in the possessions category because those actually expand what stuff you can take into missions. The way that equipment effectively works in this game is exactly like Blades, where it assumes that you just bring the right stuff for the occasion, and when something comes up, you burn a kit point, of which I believe you have 10, to just pull an item out. So, for example, if you take a cleaner's kit for 4 script before mission, it's always assumed that you have stuff from your cleaner's kit on you, and if you, for example, are in the in Ogre's Miasma, you might pull out a gas mask, which would help you fight it off. And once you pull out that gas mask, it takes you 2 kit points, let's say. And that's just a thing you have now for the rest of the
Yeah, it's very a weird Dungeon World adventure pack.
Yeah. Something that I think is a little weird, the game says that if you pick items up, like if you steal a cop's gun, that also requires kit points.
Oh, did it? I didn't see that.
Yes, I don't feel like it should, frankly. But I guess the idea is you don't want your extras turning into fucking kleptos, because that's just going to go south really quick.
Yeah.
So, edie what edie, I guess. I don't know. I feel like it shouldn't cost anything, but that's just me.
I mean, you could just say it doesn't.
You could, yeah, for sure. See, let me just. Okay. You want to do a second episode about the investigations?
What? We already talked about them. What?
We did, I suppose. I was gonna go into more detail about the idea of open investigations versus linear investigations, the stuff that goes on with the flowchart more in depth. But we did sort of talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we covered it.
Fair enough.
I mean,
no, it's fine. No, we're good. I mean, we did talk about it.
I feel like we should probably stop here either way.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the sins, though.
All right, well, then fucking you have to think about it next time.
Okay.
I feel like we're running dry here. We're shooting blanks.
It's always the sex analogy. I don't understand. It's always the sex.
You know, that wasn't even really an intended sex analogy necessarily, but yeah, we'll go with it.
Okay. It's a really big shame that we can't talk about the sins, but we talked about them a little bit.
I thought you were planning on talking about your sessions you had anyway.
Oh, that's true. That's worth doing.
That part of it wasn't? Yeah, I thought that was part of the plan anyway.
Fair enough. Okay, perfect. We can start the next episode talking about the sins. I wanted to talk about them. They're so fucking cool.
Big monster.
A big monster. Yeah, fair enough.
A big monster.
All right. Yeah, I guess that's us for now. Episode was a little more scatterbrained than I would have liked.
For now.
But I'm going to be honest. My brain is scattered right now. So, do us a favor and throw us a follow on your social media platform of choice. Fuck it. And
there's only 2 to pick from. We're not on that many.
True. And, maybe a like. We're really trying to hit 100 subscribers. We really appreciate it.
I like how you said a like and then said subscribers. Those aren't the same thing.
I know. Dude, the brain is scattered. Leave me alone. All right. Throw us a subscribe if you could.
Then just stop talking. Stop talking. You're digging the hole deeper.
Okay, fine.
Sir.
That's been us. We'll see you next time.
It has indeed. It has been us. It's true. And it will be us in perpetuity into oblivion.
That's probably true.
I mean, that's just true of existence, but you know.
Yeah, I suppose. All right. Peace, motherfuckers.
Bye-bye.